Web Daily Bible, Day 133. 2 Chronicles Chapter 16. In the 36th year of Asa's reign, Baasha king of Israel went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might not allow anyone to go out or come in to Asa king of Judah. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the Lord's house and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad king of Syria, who lived at Damascus, saying, "Let there be a treaty between me and you, as there was between my father and your father. Behold, I have sent you silver and gold. Go, break your treaty with Baasha king of Israel, that he may depart from me." Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they struck Ijon, Dan, Abel-maim, and all the storage cities of Naphtali. When Baasha heard of it, he stopped building Ramah, and let his work cease. Then Asa the king took all Judah, and they carried away the stones and timber of Ramah, with which Baasha had built. And he built Geba and Mizpah with them. At that time, Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah, and said to him, "Because you have relied on the king of Syria, and have not relied on the Lord your God, therefore the army of the king of Syria has escaped out of your hand. Weren't the Ethiopians and the Lubim a huge army, with chariots and exceedingly many horsemen? Yet, because you relied on the Lord, he delivered them into your hand. For the Lord's eyes run back and forth throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. You have done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars." Then Asa was angry with the seer and put him in the prison, for he was in a rage with him because of this thing. Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. Behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa was diseased in his feet. His disease was exceedingly great, yet in his disease he didn't seek the Lord, but just the physicians. Asa slept with his fathers, and died in the 41st year of his reign. They buried him in his own tomb, which he had dug out for himself in David's city, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and various kinds of spices prepared by the perfumer's art. And they made a very great fire for him. Chapter 17. Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his place, and strengthened himself against Israel. He placed forces in all the fortified cities of Judah, and set garrisons in the land of Judah and in the cities of Ephraim, which Asa his father had taken. The Lord was with Jehoshaphat, because he walked in the first ways of his father David, and didn't seek the Baals, but sought the God of his father, and walked in his commandments, and not in the ways of Israel. Therefore the Lord established the kingdom in his hand. All Judah brought tribute to Jehoshaphat, and he had riches and honor in abundance. His heart was lifted up in the ways of the Lord. Furthermore, he took away the high places and the Asherah poles out of Judah. Also in the 3rd year of his reign, he sent his princes, even Ben-Hail, Obadiah, Zechariah, Nethaneel, and Micaiah, to teach in the cities of Judah, and with them Levites, even Shemaiah, Nethaniah, Zebadiah, Asahel, Shemiramoth, Jehonathan, Adonijah, Tobijah, and Tobadonijah, the Levites, and with them Elishama and Jehoram, the priests. They taught in Judah, having the book of the Lord's law with them. They went about throughout all the cities of Judah and taught among the people. The fear of the Lord fell on all the kingdoms of the lands that were around Judah, so that they made no war against Jehoshaphat. Some of the Philistines brought Jehoshaphat presents and silver for tribute. The Arabians also brought him flocks, 7,700 rams and 7,700 male goats. Jehoshaphat grew great exceedingly, and he built fortresses and store cities in Judah. He had many works in the cities of Judah, and men of war, mighty men of valor in Jerusalem. This was the numbering of them according to their fathers' houses. From Judah, the captains of thousands, Adnah the captain, and with him 300,000 mighty men of valor, and next to him Jehohanan the captain, and with him 280,000. And next to him Amashah the son of Zichri, who willingly offered himself to the Lord, and with him 200,000 mighty men of valor. From Benjamin, Eliada, a mighty man of valor, and with him 200,000 armed with bow and shield. And next to him Jehozabad, and with him 180,000 ready and prepared for war. These were those who waited on the king, in addition to those whom the king put in the fortified cities throughout all Judah. Chapter 18. Now Jehoshaphat had riches and honor in abundance, and he allied himself with Ahab. After some years he went down to Ahab to Samaria. Ahab killed sheep and cattle for him in abundance, and for the people who were with him, and moved him to go up with him to Ramoth-Gilead. Ahab king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat king of Judah, "Will you go with me to Ramoth-Gilead?" He answered him, "I am as you are, and my people as your people. We will be with you in the war." Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, "Please inquire first for the Lord's word." Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, 400 men, and said to them, "Shall we go to Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear?" They said, "Go up, for God will deliver it into the hand of the king." But Jehoshaphat said, "Isn't there here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we may inquire of him?" The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "There is yet one man by whom we may inquire of the Lord, but I hate him, for he never prophesies good concerning me, but always evil. He is Micaiah the son of Imlah." Jehoshaphat said, "Don't let the king say so." Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, "Get Micaiah the son of Imlah quickly." Now the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah each sat on his throne, arrayed in their robes, and they were sitting in an open place at the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets were prophesying before them. Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah made himself horns of iron and said, "The Lord says, 'With these you shall push the Syrians until they are consumed.'" All the prophets prophesied so, saying, "Go up to Ramoth-Gilead and prosper, for the Lord will deliver it into the hand of the king." The messenger who went to call Micaiah spoke to him, saying, "Behold, the words of the prophets declare good to the king with one mouth. Let your word, therefore, please be like one of theirs, and speak good." Micaiah said, "As the Lord lives, I will say what my God says." When he had come to the king said to him, "Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth-Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear?" He said, "Go up and prosper. They shall be delivered into your hand." The king said to him, "How many times shall I adjure you that you speak to me nothing but the truth in the Lord's name?" He said, "I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains, as sheep that have no shepherd." The Lord said, These have no master. Let them each return to his house in peace." The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Didn't I tell you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil?" Micaiah said, "Therefore hear the Lord's word. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the army of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left." The Lord said, "Who will entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth-Gilead?" One spoke, saying in this way, and another saying in that way. A spirit came out, stood before the Lord, and said, "I will entice him." The Lord said to him, "How?" He said, "I will go, and will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." He said, "You will entice him, and will prevail also. Go and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of these your prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning you." Then Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah came near, and struck Micaiah on the cheek, and said, "Which way did the Lord's Spirit go from me to speak to you?" Micaiah said, "Behold, you shall see on that day, when you go into an inner room to hide yourself." The king of Israel said, "Take Micaiah, and carry him back to Amon the governor of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and say, 'The king says, put this fellow in the prison, and feed him with bread of affliction and with water of affliction, until I return in peace.'" Micaiah said, "If you return at all in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me." He said, "Listen, you people, all of you." So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth-Gilead. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "I will disguise myself and go into the battle, but you put on your robes." So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went into the battle. Now the king of Syria had commanded the captains of his chariots, saying, "Don't fight with small nor great, except only with the king of Israel." When the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, "It is the king of Israel." Therefore they turned around to fight against him. But Jehoshaphat cried out, and the Lord helped him, and God moved them to depart from him. When the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. A certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Israel between the joints of the armor. Therefore he said to the driver of the chariot, "Turn around and carry me out of the battle, for I am severely wounded." The battle increased that day. However, the king of Israel propped himself up in his chariot against the Syrians until the evening, and at about sunset he died.